Me, growing up, I don't know if it's just my thought process or how I did get brought up, but it's tough to explain. I feel as though I didn't feel no love at home. My dad left when I was about 3. He used to just come and see us probably at a weekend when he was drunk. So I got brought up with my mum. I never felt loved from my mum. I felt as though she loved my older brother and my younger sister, but I didn't feel love myself from her. I felt different, and I felt, I just felt different and not loved. My mum seemed to, I think it happened back in the day. I think it was normal if people behaved they were getting told off. I used to get thrashed a lot. I used to get quite beaten a lot by my mum. So that's my memories of growing up as a young person, just getting controlled by my mum. Our upbringing, I can remember days where she'd just go out, she'd make, it's weird, a loaf of bread, she'd toast up bread, put it back in wrapper so it's toasted, she'd butter it first, which was kind, give it me and my brother, and then she'd just disappear, and that's what we did. And I'm talking, I must be, my brother was a year older, so he's probably 8 and I'm 7, and we were just fending for ourselves around the streets. If it rained, there was an old lady down the street, and she'd let us use the porch outside her back door, and that's how I can remember cowering under this porch, and that's me upbringing. We were quite feral, we were quite left to our own means, just doing what we were doing. School, because there were no money in the family, school time growing up, we just, and sorry, I'm going to probably swear here, I stunk of piss and feces and that lot. We were just dirty, scruffy clothes. The first school I went to, I had really bad behaviour problems, and they told me mum he's not fit for normal schooling, he's got some sort of mental health issues. So she'd look for other schools, and luckily enough, because I say lucky, for me I think it was unlucky, a Catholic school took us on, and once again they believed in the cane and thrashing people, so I was getting thrashed at home for misbehaving, and then I was going to school and getting thrashed at school for misbehaving. So I had nothing positive going off. School was quite tough. Going to school, because it's a Catholic school, it was quite wealthy, quite nice people, well dressed, and that like where me, I just stunk of whatever and scruffy clothes. And I don't know what it was. I had a thing for my dad growing up. I didn't see him much. Like I say, he used to come at weekends, but I seemed to connect to my dad. I looked up to him. God, I feel a bit emotional. And he could fight, and my dad was a fighter, and that's, I don't know if it's subconscious, conscious, whatever, but my dad was quite known for fighting, and I used to enjoy fighting on the estate. I used to love fighting, no matter how big or how tall they are. I used to just love fighting. I got something from fighting. No one could hurt me as much as what my mum used to hurt me when she used to thrash me, or the schools with the canes and stuff like that. I didn't feel pain. Pain was just, I say, it's something in your mind, pain is. So when I first started going to the Catholic schools and I didn't fit in, this must have been a subconscious thing. I knew if I fought, I wouldn't get bullied. I didn't know. I never got bullied. I never felt bullied at school. But I knew if I fought and started fighting, I wouldn't get that bullying. Must be no subconscious. And I just love fighting. If someone thought they could fight, I used to just beat them up to prove they couldn't fight. And that's all my school went through, and it would get expelled from one school and expelled from another, and that's my upbringing. The first time I touched a drug, didn't realise it was a drug at the time, it was by myself. It was, and it's only because I like the smell and textures of a lot of things. I like the smell of cut grass and tarmac. I like the smell of tarmac, but I also like the smell of Tipex. And I can remember sniffing Tipex once at school, think, oh, it smells lovely by myself. Oh, it smells nice. But it gave me a nice warm feeling. And I didn't know what the warm feeling was. It was just the smell I was going for. And I can remember doing that on and off for quite a while. And I'm at a young age at that. I can't say how old I was. But I have later found out that was my first introduction to drugs. It's a funny one, this is. It wasn't until I got clean. It wasn't until I went to rehab and learnt about my behaviours till I realised it wasn't normal behaviour, and that was a problem. As I've explained, my life was just chaos as a kid. There was no direction. My mum was an avid drinker. When my dad used to come and see me, he was an avid drinker. I'd never had no parent guidance. Nothing at all. From schooling, from school, I ended up going into a secure kids home. And then I went into detention centre and then young offenders. But I just thought that was normal behaviour. I thought everybody on them sort of streets who brought up on the streets, this is the path to go, and it's a problem. The drug use started off from solvents, and then it went on to smoking weed, and then through to amphetamine, heroin, crack cocaine, ecstasy. But that's just the way life went, wasn't it? That's just what we all did. All my circle of friends, everybody did it. So it's not a problem. I didn't have no issues. I know I used to rattle when I didn't have smack, but I didn't rattle much because I took the role of selling drugs. So I most of the time I had a supply. So I never knew I had a problem. My last prison sentence, that's what changed my perspective on life. Every jail sentence I went to, we always went to local jails. And because I've got a reputation of being a fighter and we all back each other up, I felt as one. But my last sentence, I got sentenced at the Old Bailey in London. So I went to London jails. And I was an outsider. Most people who go to an outside jail go to a different jail. It's usually for two things. One, you're a sex offender, or two, you're an informer. So that's why I got classed, one or other. So it was quite tough sentence. That the other sentences I've done in the past, it was just part and parcel of the chaos I was in. This sentence broke me. It took my soul. I say it took my soul. It took my inner strength. I knew I could overcome anything growing up. I could have overcome anything. But this was taking that everything away from me. This was taking that drive inside, that sentence did. And I can remember leaving that prison, and that sentence, thinking never again. Not that I've got a problem. I didn't realise I had a problem. I just knew that I couldn't keep doing what I was doing. But I didn't think it was because of drugs. I just thought it's the crime I'm doing to go to jail. That's the problem, not drugs. Drugs is okay. Everybody takes drugs. Everybody uses drugs. I like drugs. I like the effects of drugs. I didn't like the effects of heroin and crack cocaine because these are problematic drugs. They're the ones what cause problems, where you party drugs and your weed. I thought that was okay, so I never thought I had a problem. But I wasn't out of that prison sentence long. I was only out 3 months, and I got busted and I got caught with quite a lot of drugs. So luckily enough, I got bail from it, but they told me I was looking at 5 or 6 years. I was broken. There's no way I could go back to jail. Like I say, it took my soul. My last jail sentence took my soul. And that's the first time where I thought, because I'd do anything. My inner strength would get me through anything. But that's the first time where I contemplated suicide. I wanted to kill myself. I can remember going upstairs to the bathroom with an handful of tablets. First time in my life, which I thank an higher power. I didn't have the courage to do something because I would have done anything as a child growing up. But this is the first time I didn't have the guts to take these tablets. And I've never asked for help. You don't ask for help. Back growing up, you couldn't ask for help. It was a sign of weakness. But luckily enough, I was that broken. I'm still addicted to crack. I'm still addicted to to smack. I'm looking at a big jail sentence. I'm at my lowest point. Still don't think that drugs is a problem. My lifestyle is a problem. Drugs isn't a problem. I'm at my lowest point, and I can remember I was with a girl at the time. I owe my life to her, to be fair. I asked for help for the first time, which you don't ask for help growing up, especially someone who I portrayed myself to be. You don't ask for help, and she says, I can't help you, but we'll go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor, and I basically put it on his toes, and I think he really knew that I meant it. And I would have cut my nose off to spite my face, because that's the person I was. I told him if he didn't help me that day, I was going to leave the building, I was going to kill myself, and I would have killed myself just to spite that doctor. That's the chaos and where my mentality was growing up. Luckily enough, he couldn't help me that day, but he says, I'll refer you to a rehab, and you're going to this rehab. And for me, that was the answer. Once again, I didn't think I had a problem with drugs. So I thought, I'm going to go into rehab, I'm going to get off of heroin, I'm going to get off of crack, I'm going to start looking fresh, I can stand up in front of that judge, he'll let me off the sentence because I'm doing well now, I'm not using drugs no more. And as soon as I'm let off on that sentence, I'm going to go back, smoke my weed, take my ecstasy, take my trips and my amphetamine and carry on using drugs. I just want to stay away from heroin. So that was my plan. And I went into rehab, and that's the only reason I went into rehab was to get off that jail sentence, not to get off of drugs. But then I met a person in the rehab, and I'm going to name him, Tony Herbert. Seems weird because I could talk about this man hundreds of times and not get emotional. But then sometimes it just catches me. Yeah, I met a man called Tony Herbert. 10 years clean, 10 years drug-free, crime-free, 10 years everything. Therapist in this rehab. He used to come on a Thursday night and do a drug talk. He was one of the lads. He was not whatever you call normal, just one of the lads. He used to drive a nice car, motorbike, funny, exciting, bubbly. Just someone I'd hang around with in the drug scene because it would have been fun. But he didn't take drugs. And I couldn't get my head around it when I first met. What do you mean you don't take drugs? I don't even drink alcohol. What do you mean you don't even drink alcohol? Because drinking and taking drugs led me to where you are today. It led me into crime. It led me into that. So he opened my eyes up. So then, I think, when I realised maybe I have got a problem with drugs. And just a bit on that Tony Herbert. He helped me get clean in the early days to make me realise that I did have a problem. It wasn't... The problem was me. I was the problem. Drugs just escalated me and having no guidance, just nothing about me, no positive role model. He was my positive role model. He was 10 years clean. 14 years later, 4 years after that day, he chose to use drugs again and he's dead now. So then he helped me get clean. He keeps me clean today because I know if I ever pick up, I will be the next Tony Herbert. Most important lesson, what I keep at the forefront of my head is using drugs today will be a choice. The lesson I've learned is if I use a drug, no matter what drug it is, maybe alcohol, maybe just socially accepted ones with coke or cannabis, I know that it will become a problematic. I know it would take me back to where I was, committing crime and back to prison. And before long, it'll end up killing me or I'd end up killing myself because I can't cope with that lifestyle. So I think the number one lesson I've learned is that I cannot pick a drug up again. I'm totally different. I say totally different. As a kid, I had a thing for animals. I loved all sorts of animals, maybe a dog, maybe a cat, geese, ducks. I can remember nicking next door neighbour's ducks once, like he didn't know, and you're quacking in my back garden. But because I just loved animals and that affection I'd get from animals. And what I've done since I've got clean, that affection I've still got the affection for animals. I still love animals, and I've had a dog all through my recovery. I had it in my chaos days, but I've had it all through recovery. But that love and that care and that wanting to look after people, I've brought it into people now. I brought it into people. Luckily enough, I've had therapy about the stuff I've done. I've done some nasty stuff to people and some horrible stuff to people where back when I was in the chaos, I had no feelings and no emotions, so it was just normal behaviour. And I just thought everybody did that normal behaviour, even though I went to the extreme. It was maybe for a showing off thing. I don't know why I did it. It was probably an attention-seeking ego thing. Look what I'm doing. And not thinking about someone else's feelings or someone else's emotions. And it wasn't until I started getting therapy when I was in rehab. Till I can remember crying. I can remember the first few weeks I cried near enough every single day. And I just think it was the guilt, the shame, what I'd done to other people, and I've trodden on someone else's feelings just for my own gain. So since I've been in recovery, or discovery, whichever one you want to watch it, whatever one you want to hear it, 'cause, yeah, for me, I'm not recovering to something I used to be. I'm discovering a new life and a new way, and every day I'm learning every day. But since I've been where I am, I just want to help people. I was broken where, like I say, I was lucky I didn't commit suicide, where there's people who's been broken and are committing suicide. I've lost friends through overdose since being clean, drug-free. I've lost friends through suicide since being drug-free. I want to save everybody. I want to save people. I don't want people to. I can remember them feelings and them emotions how I felt broke. I can remember being in that bathroom where I wanted to commit suicide. I don't want people to feel the way I felt. So what I've learned about myself is I've got compassion. I care for people. I've got a desire to help people better themselves. And I struggle to put into words how I do want to help people, and that desire and that caring and love inside I've got for everybody. Maybe a substance misuse, maybe a disability with autism, Asperger's, maybe mental health, whatever it is. I want to try and make their life a bit better by being in it, do you know what I mean? It depends what age range. Early teenage years, and this is going to sound really not egotistic, but it might come across as egotistic. At early teenage years, I needed another JJ to hold my hand, comfort me, show me that life don't have to be how I'm living, that how I was living isn't a normal, whatever normal is not as society should be living. Pinching, stealing, selling drugs, committing crime, whatever, it's not how life should be. I needed a JJ to hold my hand and say, do this, go to A, go to B, go to C, and life will be better. I needed proof. I needed someone stood in front of me to say, I've come from where you are and look where I am now. But as a younger person, before my teenage years, I cannot say what would have made. I think I was too damaged. If it caught me as a young baby, maybe I think they could have been out for me. But I think up to I turned a teenager, from probably 5 or 6, I just think there was no direction. I just think I was too damaged and wouldn't listen and wouldn't understand, because I was too black and white. This is all I knew. Fighting's my only strength, and that's all I'm going to do, and no one could have changed it. I think there would have been positive people around me at the time what would have tried to point me in my direction, but I'd give them lip service and carried on doing what I was doing. But I think as a teenager, when I'm starting to open young adult brain, I think I'd have took more guidance, so I needed someone to show me, to hold my hand and show me a new way to live. I work in recovery. I've never had a job, but before I got into recovery, discovery, I'm going to put that slash everyone, because I'm discovering, and every day I'm learning, so it is discovery. When I was in treatment, rehab, I couldn't read and write. I'd never had a job, no direction, didn't know what to do, got myself clean. I said I didn't get myself clean. We all got me clean. Everybody helped me get clean. I did the work. But once I got clean, I had to learn to read and write. And like I say, I mentioned Tony Herbert earlier. I wanted to be a Tony Herbert. He saved me. I felt it at the time. He was saving my life. And I knew he saved other people's lives. And I wanted to be a Tony Herbert. So I did a counselling course, as well as learning to read and write, which I'm still learning now. I found out I was dyslexic, severely dyslexic. That's why I struggled. I did a counselling course, and then I was fortunate enough to start my own charity up. And it was called Sorted, and it were working with people who were clean. There was a cycle. People were getting clean, but there were no support after them, so they were using again, and that was a cycle. There was a meetings, NA, you could go to NA, AA, CA, so you could go to your meetings, but I didn't think it was enough. I thought there needed to be more in the day. So I started my own charity up. That went a different direction, and I left for charity and started working for another charity as a drug and alcohol worker, and that's all I've done for the last 27 years. I've done drug and alcohol work for different organisations. One before I'm working now, I work with high-risk offenders, but it was all related to offending and drugs and alcohol. So that's all I've been doing. I work now for the local drug service, CGL. I'm like an housing officer for them. I work with drug users, alcohol users, or ex-users. I help support them in the tenancies. So that's what I do in the day job. That's what I do, what I get paid for. But over the years, I've always done it. My free time, if I haven't got my kids, in my free time, I just support the community. I get a phone call off a family member, so-and-so struggling, can you talk to them? I get a phone call off a friend, or my son, or my brother, or my friend, can you go and talk to them? So in my spare time, for years and years and years, and like I say, for 27 years in my spare time, I've been supporting just the community, just helping anybody and everybody. I just don't want no one to suffer, so I put all my time into it. But then 6 months ago, 12 months ago, I'm in touch with another charity who I'm really close to people in this other charity, and I spoke about where there's a gap. There's people out there suffering, and there's not enough services out there to stop these people suffering. Why are they coming to me in an evening? Why aren't they going to local services? Because there's nothing in an evening. That's why they're coming to me. And I think they're not just coming to me because there's nothing in an evening. I think they're coming to me because I've earned my stripes as a worker. I've earned my stripes as being a good drug worker and a good person and a kind person and a caring person. So because I've earned my stripes, that's why they're coming. So for last year, I've been trying to set my own charity up, working with people who are suffering from mental health and substance misuse, or ex-substance misuse, maybe alcohol or drugs. So for the last year, as well as doing my day job, in all my spare time, as well as supporting other people, I've been setting my own charity up. It's not a charity yet. I've got a board meeting next month, and that's when we're going to ask about going for charity status, which I know we're going to go for charity status. We're just a constituted group at the minute. At the minute, we're running a boxing club just to get people through the door. We've got a venue, so it pays for our venue. It gets people through the door. If people can afford the £5 to train, they can. If they can't afford it, just come along, just come. Before the boxing and after the boxing, we meet up, we have a chat, we just talk. It is an exercise they're doing, but it's for your mind as well. And I go round and make sure I've spoke to everybody who's coming to this gym. My plans for the future are, it's called New Way. I wanted it to be called First Steps. When I was picking a name for a charity, someone said, what do you want it to be? And I wanted it to be First Steps, because everything starts with a first step, and I wanted to be that first step. But people I spoke to kept thinking, it sounds like it's a baby program, it's something to do with baby's first steps. So I've gone with New Way. New Way meaning, it's a new way. My old way got me to where I was. It got me into crime and drugs and prisons and wherever. It got me the wrong way. So I had to try a new way, and the new way has got me where I am today. A working person, a kind, caring person, a loving person, a good parent. I'm a good dad, do you know what I mean? I've stopped that cycle where my kids don't have to see an alcoholic dad or mum, do you know what I mean? They can see a nice person, so hopefully they don't have the traumas what I had growing up. Yeah, and that's why it become New Way. And New Way, I want it a longer service. I want it there. I want to drop in where it's got a pool table, it's got a dartboard, it's got table tennis, it's got coffee. If you want a coffee, if you want a cup of tea, if it's a punching bag, come to a gym. I want a free gym. So all this is free, but I just want people to engage. And it's going to sound childish, but I want an adult youth club where if you're working a 9 till 5 and you go home and you're stuck in your four walls in your own head, what else are you going to do? You're just going to manifest in your head, and it's not healthy for people being alone. I want them to come to my place, the New Way. I want them to come and connection with other people who care and I don't know, and got positive, just feel the positivity. I want a positive place for people just to grow. Single parents, do you know what I mean? It's tough for them. They're going home, they've got the child, and that's all it is. Their life revolves around the child. Come down, bring your child, get them in a corner, get them in a punch bag, have a cup of coffee, have a tea, bring your toys and leave them in a corner so you can engage. I want a safe place for someone, and that's where I see, and I'm hoping. It's been a year in thought and a year where we are today, and I'm hoping in a year time it's going to be up and running and just helping the local community. I'm giving back. I took from this community for years and years and years. And for the last 27 years, I've been giving back to it, and I'm going to carry on giving back to it until I can't give no more.